Now, are you seeing it full screen?
Yes.
Okay. So I will go ahead and get started. So ClassDojo originally started as kind of a behavior management system, and that's really all I knew about it before I delve a little deeper into this. And I knew it gave like classroom updates because my children have had teachers who have used ClassDojo. So, but the reason why I think I would really consider it and maybe even over Seesaw at this point, it's because the parent communication is so much slicker. It can go to right to their cell phones. It can go to email. It can translate into over 35 different languages. So when the parent signs up, all they have to do is select their home language, and then it's translating your post into their language. I don't know how great the translations are. Maybe it's more of a Google Translate where they're close but not great. But I just thought that's something that this has over Seesaw. It still has the student management, and they can get participation skill points right away. The behavior management they kind of call skills, and I will show you that later. And you can create your own skills. And I know some of our schools are interested about, entering their own data and things like that. The teacher, you can post an activity just like you can in Seesaw. I will say that Seesaw has a lot more pre-made activities that I think are a lot more helpful for teachers. So that I will give Seesaw those props. And it creates a student portfolio that's a bit more simplistic than Seesaw. So it has good and bad. And I can understand how using both platforms might be confusing to parents. So I'd be interested to see if someone uses both of them with their classes and how that would pan out. If if the parents are fine with using both, that might be kind of interesting to know. So the first thing is to log on. You would log on through Google as a teacher. The students would be given a class code, and then it will prompt them to sign in with Google. And that is how the district wants them to be signing in, just to make it a little more seamless for you. Okay. So why don't before I go through this whole thing, let me just go out for a moment and show you the teacher side. So I made a class with 3 little students here. Okay, and so what I did is I gave them the code and they signed in and they became my students. To add students, and this was one thing that's it does not upload with Google Classroom. So that's the other knock against it that Seesaw has going for it. It's not seamless with Google Classroom. I can't just call it my classroom and throw the kids in. So that is annoying. I will give you that. And I have found it's just easier to add the kids typing them in because you can upload a Word document, but that doesn't help us much in the Google world unless you turned it into a Word document. It just gets more and more complex as I looked at it. I'm like, you probably just need to sit down and type in your kids. And I know as an Explo teacher, that might just be super annoying, but I don't know.
Can I ask a question about that? Can they give the kids like an invite code to join the class or no?
What's weird is I had to put your name down first before I could invite you. So it wasn't like a flip grid.
Mm-hmm.
It was like you had to exist in my world, in my class, before I could give you. But I'd be interested because we weren't signing in with Google because I didn't want Jody and Tracy to screw up their accounts. I didn't want them to become students permanently. I'm wondering if you gave the code and said sign in with Google, maybe you don't have to do that.
The other thing is, I'm not sure. When I was looking at the school level, if you do it from school level, I think you can upload a spreadsheet.
Right.
And so you could pull all the kids in the school into the system so they existed. And then
yeah.
I mean, I haven't dug deep enough to know.
I agree.
But
there are definite ways. You could get a download from Power Teacher. You could get you could do tons of that. But I was just like, if you're just trying to get this going tomorrow, I don't know. So I would try the code and see if kids can add with Google without you typing them in. That I bet might be possible. I was just worried about you guys. Yep, go ahead.
Erica, I can reach out to Logan's teacher because he joined yesterday for the first time, and I think we just used a code, but I'd have to double check.
You may have, but like Jody just used a code this morning, but I typed her in as Jody.
You typed her in, right? Okay,
I did.
Yeah. That could have been because I didn't use Google, but that's the kind of stuff we can figure out when we start playing with it.
Sure. Okay. So I'll, and obviously I only have 3. You would have more students to see here in this area.
And you can make different classes, like one for each block or period or whatever.
Yes. Yep. So you can make, I don't think it even limits you to was it 20 classes or something was the limit I was seeing. So yeah, I think everybody will have more than enough for now. Obviously if you have trimesters going forward, like Elaine, I'm not sure how many classes you actually have in a whole school year. Like
18.
Okay. All right. So you're still under 20. All right. So we might be good. We might not even need the 20 plus. Okay. So I will go back to my spiel here. Okay. So for the parents, it's pretty self-explanatory. You kind of give them the download app and they get a parent code to put in, and the parent code follows their student specifically. So you have to enter some information about the parent, the parent email. You could either enter the parent email, which I know you can get off of Power Teacher, or you could enter a text number if that's what they would prefer. So, in a perfect world, that'd be something maybe you collect at open house, but we don't have that option, so maybe you would just be using the email that you believe is active and working. The class story is what looks like the teacher here. So it kind of looks a lot like a Facebook feed. So it just kind of has, this teacher was leaving a little video and like a little thing about here's what we did today. Or you could be leaving, it could be more of like an announcement stream, like, hey, these are kind of the links I want you to be doing. Messaging is kind of an option this is more an advanced option, I would say. You can send instant messages to your parents who have, entered with their phone number, and they don't see a phone number. So you can text the parents without your phone number present. And it also gives you an indication when it's been seen. And you can schedule them. So you could say, oh, I really want to tell my parents about getting these field trip forms in, but I want to remind them maybe 2 days before. You can schedule that and just have it blast the parents. And then you can also put when you have quiet hours, like, I don't know. I think to start with, I would use this messaging kind of as more of a one-way thing and not make your parents feel like they can be messaging you all, constantly. But if that's what you'd like to do, then you would put in these quiet hours. This video was pretty good. It's about 3 minutes. It shows you what the parent view would look like. So I don't want to, I know playing videos for you over this is kind of tedious. You can't hear them that well. So if you're really interested in what the parents will see, this parent view video was pretty good and pretty short.
Are you going to share the slideshow afterward, or can you?
Yeah, I'll put it in the chat. Is that
okay?
Good? Okay. So I mentioned this before, that the real bang for your buck with this program is the translations. They log on, they select what language they prefer it, and then you're writing your blurbs in English. It is translating them into their language, and it looks pretty good here. You've got English on the left here, Spanish on the right. Kind of looks very Facebooky, very easy to read. So I know a lot of you were talking about the student participation and what you would consider kind of PBIS, or is what they call skill categories. So there's some skill categories that exist. The ones that are already existing in here are like teamwork, working hard, persistence, participation, on task, helping others. You can add any skill you want. You can call it anything you want. You can give it almost any little graphic you want. So I think that if you are looking to have this work in a PBIS type situation, I know at Cooper we hand out Cobra Cash. And I was like, well, would you maybe want to do Cobra points? Would that be something you'd be interested in? You can also, when you set this up, you can set it up so that the parents see only positive entries, all entries, or no entries. So you can be using this with the parents however you'd like. If you want this whole point thing on the PBIS just to be a within your school kind of portal, you can. It can be between just you and the student. The parents don't have to see this part if you're not really ready to open that up yet. So you can track this data. This was another 3-minute video that got very detailed about all the different types of reports that you can request once you start entering this data. So you see, I just kind of took a snippet. You can look kid by kid. You could see your whole class. You can see how often they're connecting to your account. You can get monthly data, weekly, daily, almost anything you can think of. It looks to me like if you assigned a skill set, you can get a data report on it. And then on the flip side, the student can receive instant feedback if that's how you have set this up. So they can get feedback that says when they log in, you got a +1 for teamwork, +1 here Monica got for perseverance. I don't know if it's that pretty on the computer. That would be interesting. I know that my children were using iPads with this, so that's different. So I don't know if this little thing comes up as cute. So that I don't know. And I don't know how much they'd like it or dislike it. I'm not sure. Or if they get competitive with it, I don't know. So it's kind of interesting to think about. So the second part, moving beyond the behavior management that ClassDojo has been noted for, they've opened it up to creating your own activities. So to me, an activity is really like you've created an assignment. And you can request that the assignment come to you in a certain format. So you can ask the students, like when you submit, you're going to pick a category. What I couldn't figure out was how to choose more than one category. It seemed like if it was a text entry, it was a text entry. If it was a video, photo or drawing, I think it kind of stuck me in whatever I asked you to do. But then I noticed, Tracy, when I gave that assignment, you gave me a drawing, even though I asked for a text entry.
Oh, that wasn't in response to your assignment.
Oh, okay. That was just saying hello.
I did that before I saw your chat, and I went in and just was playing with it. So that drawing has nothing to do with the assignment.
Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to, let me see. Yeah, so we're going to bop out again. Basically, the assignments go into a portfolio. And if you think of the portfolio as just a storage space for student work. So this is a screenshot of a class. This is actually a kindergarten class, but they have a lot of information on there. So they're taking pictures of their writing, they're doing videos, they're doing this. So let me just come out for a moment and go back to my kind of lame class. Here we go. So, and there's just a lot of help on this. Anytime you try something different, you'll get this nice lady here and she will give you a short little clip on what you're learning about or what you're trying. To create my activity, it was pretty simple. I just hit create and there came up this window that I just showed you on the slide. So here Tracy did a hello. All right. So then let's see. So Tracy, do you think you're ready to show us your response, and I'll give up control here? Can you see the activity that I posted to you?
Do you want me to share my screen?
Yeah, so let me stop sharing.
Okay, so I'm going to have that, let's see, present now. Ooh. I'll do entire screen. Okay, so I'm going to share that and I'll go here. Okay, so here is my assignment. Please share one positive change in your life since we have been sheltered in place at home. Okay, no commute. Yay. Okay, so I'm going to type that and I submitted it.
Okay.
And it doesn't look like it gives me any feedback or anything. I just kind of submit it.
Yeah, you just hope it kind of went. Well, I'm wondering if it's because it's no longer in your tasks to do. You know what I mean? Like that's gone.
Yeah. I
So
think
maybe
you're right.
that's kind of how you know it got turned in.
Well, the assignment is still here, but I can't do anything. It's kind of grayed out.
It's grayed out now.
Yeah, which is nice. So I can see what it was, but it doesn't want me to do anything with it.
Right. And it did. It forced you to do a text document because that's what I requested as the teacher.
Nice.
Yeah. So that might be
Yeah,
something to put in the
easy.
help. Like, I don't know if you could do I couldn't do 2 choices when I was trying with it. Okay. So Tracy, if you release your screen, then I will go back. Okay. Am I back? Can you see
Yep.
my screen? Okay. And so then you can do 2 things. You can have these, and you'll see these assignments, like her assignments have a picture. So she was asking for pictures. You know, it gives you the icon of what the assignment type is. You can click on it by assignment. So you could click on the assignment and then you can see all your student responses. Or you could go and drill down and look at the student. And if you do that, then you will see responses by student. You will see all of Ethan's or all of Sean's, whatever you've clicked on. One thing I think they are trying to catch up a little bit with Seesaw and realizing that teachers want a little more pre-made activities available to them. So they did make a series of SEL videos and activities. Not quite sure if they're a little too babyish for 6th, 7th, and 8th graders, but if you're interested, that might be something to look at. It has some e-learning tips. I think these are just tips that are just kind of, I think they're things you're already doing. You've already been adapted and trying in the past 2 weeks, but it just kind of gives you some, things that their team has put together that you can use their platform for. And it kind of gives you little ideas like how to use it easily. And this is all in the help desk area. This you probably wouldn't use until we went back to school, but I thought this was kind of interesting. If you loaded this app on your phone, it gives you this thing called a toolkit. So it can make groups for you. If you hit random, it will call on random students for you. You can do a timer, you can do a noise meter, you can do a think, pair, share. You can play music.
How does the think, pair, share look, Erica? Does that like group?
See, I don't even know because it's not like I
Okay.
didn't load this on my phone. But so that's something to actually go to the help and type in because I bet you there's a video of it. I would imagine. That's the thing about this. It's like if it exists, there's a video of it.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Yeah, so just saying there's tons of help. I joined a Facebook group. I might have to silence them soon. It's amazing. I mean, it's great, but whoa. And it's everything from newbies saying, "Hey, I got stuck here," to really advanced questions and just people getting responses. It's not like you're just asking and people are ignoring you. So I was pretty amazing how watching people interact back and forth all across the globe really in this. And that's what I thought too. ClassDojo is very global because it is in the 35 languages. So you do see lots of people from all over the place talking about this. YouTube had a lot of really good video tutorials. Some of them are not so great. I mean, there are some out there that are like an hour and a half long. So it can consume a lot of your time, or I would look for the tiny little YouTube videos that are just kind of category specific. But you see when you go to this help desk, I mean, even the layout's easy. If you got a teacher, if you got a question for a teacher, if you've got questions for students, so I thought even sending your parents and students to this help desk, it does not look intimidating to me. And then just resources. I suffered through part of this webinar. I didn't watch the whole thing. So I think I got pretty much the gist of it to you by watching it. But there is a lot of things out there that you could watch and learn from.
So I saw Alicia's question, and to me, and I don't know if, because it has a lot of the, like you said, a lot of the same things as Seesaw, and I think sometimes we throw a lot of tools at the kids and at the teachers, and so they're all going in different directions. To me, when I was looking at this, I thought that the difference for me was, the whole behavior or PBIS or whatever. That's, if I had a class, that's where I think I would possibly try and use it. Just because we don't have Step It Up tickets anymore, and we don't have, and so we've got kids who are dwindling in their participation. And, I was on a Facebook page talking about this, and somebody said, well, then are you rewarding, what's the word? What's it called when you, what's it called that are you rewarding privilege? Like, because some of the kids don't have the ability. And I'm like, well, but it's not like you're giving them a car, and you're just recognizing the kids who are doing what they're supposed to be doing. And so that was what drew me to this tool. I don't know, Erica, is there anything from like being a parent, or whoever else said they were a parent? Is there anything? I mean, whoever said they were a parent who uses it?
I don't know. In my case, my daughter's she's a rule follower. So in some ways, I just see it and I'm like, yeah, whatever. And like, she gets dinged for talking in the hall. And I'm like, are you flipping? Because I'll ask, hey, what happened? Why'd you lose a point? Well, our whole class lost a point because, the boys were talking. So sometimes I'm like, really? So I think it really depends on how the teacher's using it too. So I don't know. After a couple conversations like that with my daughter, I kind of even stopped paying attention to them. And as a parent, I could give her bonus points. Like, there's a whole parent portal where if you want to give them points for doing things. And I just decided, I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. But that's just a parenting style. I don't really believe in giving them little chits for doing things that are correct. That's just how you're supposed to behave in my house. But that's okay. But it was interesting.
I don't know. Does anybody else have any questions or anything they want to share?
So I saw that, Margaret, Margaret, have you ever given points on Logan's, or you just started?
Hang on, sorry, I didn't mute.
Okay.
I was on your screen, then I get to my screen.
I know.
Yeah, I was all over the place. No, you know what? I don't either, because it's kind of how we work the same way, Erica, like where it's just more intrinsic. He's actually been doing this for a while, but I was confused. He started Seesaw today. So kind of what you were saying is, I'm curious, and I did email his teachers just after you had said it, as to like what the benefit is of doing both, because for some reason today they did start Seesaw, even though they've used Dojo pretty religiously all year. So I'm curious, there had to be a reason, right? Like why they started using Seesaw today. He does get points. We don't, kind of the same thing. There's not a problem, so we don't really use it. It doesn't seem to be his motivator, so I don't want to turn it into his motivator. He's pretty naturally intrinsically motivated. But I mean, I could see if I didn't have that, of saying something like, hey, you got these points today, good job. So I could see that working for other kids. But yeah, we don't do a lot with the points, but I do like to see him throughout the day, and I like to get the little messages from his teachers. So I think there's that piece, but they do a lot more with video, which is cute. Like he watches every morning, like his class say good morning, and his teacher leaves little comments. I'd be curious to see if that's easier with Seesaw, or I've never been on the parent end of Seesaw until today. So I'd be curious to see how that comes across and how they compare.
Oh yeah, that would be interesting. So you've seen Dojo as a parent,
yeah,
and little videos and things like that. Okay.
Yeah, so it pops up on my screen, like just throughout the school day, it'll say like, you have a message, or the Dojo icon like pops up, and then I'll just like at lunch or something peek and see what he's doing, or see what his teacher says about the day. I don't know how Seesaw pops up. So if it does the same, like gives me kind of like an app message, or so I'll have to see how that works.
Well, Jody, how do you see the Seesaw as a parent?
I get an email.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that was an option I chose. I might have been able to choose to get it texted, but I get an email.
Okay. So that's interesting.
thoughts, ideas, questions? All right. Alicia, anything you wanted to add? Because are they using it in the elementary school?
Not on a widespread basis. I know one of the elementary schools does kind of seem to use it as a school, and then there are some pockets of teachers here and there, but definitely Seesaw is the most widely used application. And plus, now that we have Seesaw for schools for the rest of the school year, that's definitely now giving teachers even more kind of than like a free subscription to Dojo. Although maybe Dojo has a premium version that's available too now. We just haven't pursued that as a district. So, but definitely Seesaw is the most widely and commonly used in the district.
I'm not sure how much of Dojo would be on a premium version because their whole big thing is that it's free. So I didn't have to apply for anything different to do what I just, do these all things that I was able to do. So I'm not quite sure.
Okay, so maybe they don't actually have a tiered, like a pricing system.
Yeah,
maybe it's just the whole thing is free.
Okay. We can sing a song if you want. Christy's singing already. She's on mute.
Oh,
Erica, that was great. Thank you very much.
oh, you're welcome.
I just didn't know if you wanted to hear me, but I
something?
was singing.
So, quick question. It sounds to me that ClassDojo, you can't give students a choice when they're answering, because in Seesaw, they can draw, they can record a video, they can type, right? And ClassDojo doesn't have the choice option, I think.
Maybe that's the big difference. I was trying to figure out how to give and let them do 2 mediums or this or that, and it just, I don't know, it was just forcing me to click one choice.
But I think there are pros and cons of both Seesaw and ClassDojo. I like the PBIS portion of ClassDojo as well.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, thanks for coming, everybody.
Thank you so much.
You're
Have a
welcome.
good afternoon.